You're listening to KCXU LP 92.7 FM on your dial in San Jose, California. Well, welcome to KCXU. We happen to be interviewing Neil Barnes in the Santa Clara County. He's a blues player. He plays harps, and we're going to be interviewing him for the next 45 minutes. He's doing the release of The Bald Guy with a Lot on His Mind. Welcome, Neil.
Hey, thank you, Mon. Thanks, Mon.
You're welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, definitely. Our community's going to love you, man. It's awesome I came across you, actually. So, well, why don't you briefly tell our community about your musical background?
Okay, wow, where do we start? So, I am a San Jose guy. I was born in San Jose and at the old O'Connor Hospital, and I grew up in Santa Clara. And then during the 60s, I had really good friends, Robert Montez, Bob Holmes, and they were in a very good band that backed up a lot of the touring acts that came through, a lot of the blues guys like Freddie King, Albert King, and Savoy Brown, just a lot of acts. And that was at this club called the Bodega in Campbell. And that's why I got exposed to a lot of music, was through my friends. And then during that time, that was the early 60s, and the whole San Francisco scene was happening with, Jefferson Airplane, Grateful Dead, and all that. And so I was exposed to a lot of music from, you name it, and from my family, from my older brother and older sister. I was exposed to everybody from Elvis to James Brown to the Supremes, Freddie Fender, Tammy Wynette, Beatles, of course, Stones, Miles Davis, Muddy Waters. So it was a pretty eclectic musical upbringing, and I gravitated towards the blues. There's just something about it. It was emotion and something about the sound of the harp. So I really gravitated towards Muddy Waters and, of course, the big guys at the time, Little Walter, and I was really influenced by Paul Butterfield, his band. And then I looked around in the Bay Area for a lot of blues guys, which a lot of them actually lived here in the Bay Area, and mainly like Charlie Musselwhite. He was a big blues influence out of Mississippi to Chicago, and played with all the blues greats, and I was able to meet him and spend time with him. And then there was this little Willie Littlefield. He used to play at the Red Stag in San Jose. He was one of these guys. He actually wrote going to Kansas City. He was like a child prodigy, and I got to be pretty close friends with him. He was quite a character, and so I just gravitated towards blues. And there's one person in particular, Gary Smith. I'm sure a lot of you know him. We call him the godfather of the South Bay Blues. He actually took the time and showed me the ins and outs of playing blues harp.
Wow. So, about, when did you start deciding to, not just pick up the harp, but you got interested in the blues? So, and how would you define to the people around here in our community who will be listening to this show? My question is, what is the blues? How do you define it?
Wow, that's a deep question, Manu. That's that's the age-old question. It's like, what is the blues? I mean, it can be, everybody at some point is, of course it is, African-American music, and it developed, through slavery and all that, and obviously that's not my background, but there's just something about the music, the emotion, and sometimes we've all had money problems or women problems or something like that, and the blues is not always, sad and hurtful, which some of it certainly is, and it's a way to express that and get that emotion out. But there's also quite a bit of it that's very upbeat and happy and moves your feet. And it's a cliche, but it's a very honest.
Excuse me. So it's like being real. It is real.
Cool. You got it. That's right.
So in your CD, Bald Guy with a lot on his mind, that in itself would be, how did you come up with that title of your new CD that's being released?
There's a lot of folks out there that try to put people, stay in your lane, in your box. And it's like you're a blues guy, all you do is play the 1-4-5 progression, or you're a jazz guy, you can't do anything else, or a rock guy. So, that's not me. I have a pretty eclectic music taste, but everything I do, there's no way that I don't bring blues to it. It's just in me. I don't know any other way to do it. So I go for music that moves me somehow, either emotionally or physically, and then it just clicks. And then that's where, if it's somebody else's music, I like to put my spin on it, or something else. I'll hear a phrase or a conversation between people, and that'll ignite something in me to write a song about it. So, but the title, the Bald Guy with a lot on his mind. Okay, I got. So, like I say, so the songs are. I did that because a lot of the songs are not your typical blues. They all have a blues feel to them, but they run a gamut from a deep Chicago blues or Delta blues to more of the folk rock blues. So it kind of covers that. And where I actually got the title and the little picture that's on there, that was Mark Knapflin let me use that. Mark Knapflin was a keyboard player for the Paul Butterfield Blues Band, and with Tracy Nelson and Mother Earth, and he's also quite the artist. So I actually recorded with him in the early 80s. So this is his little artwork, and I asked him if I could use it because I felt it was fitting, and he agreed to that.
But I'm trying to understand the Bald Guy, a lot on his mind, if I may.
Well, that's my physical description. I don't have the hair on my head.
Oh, it's a personal thing.
so it's kind of a self-effacing thing there, Manu.
Well, really, I was listening to 10 of your songs that you have on the album. And there's quite a few people that either playing piano, guitar, drums, harmonica, of course, and singers. And I noticed 2 of the songs that were more gospel, but still blues. And how... let me see, it was number 3 of your CD called Rough Side of the Mountain.
Oh, Rough Side of the Mountain, yeah, that's a classic gospel song. And when we first did that, was from a session called Hide and Seek, and then we did that in 2014. And it was a great Earl Thomas on vocals, and the local great Lady Bianca on vocals and piano. And she's a star in her own right. And believe it or not, she used to play. She was in Sly and the Family Stones band. She played in the band with Frank Zappa. We did a lot of work with Van Morrison, so she's quite the star in her own right, and she covers blues, gospel, R&B. And when I wanted to do the gospel songs, I really wanted somebody that from the church background, because me being the Caucasian that I am, I don't come from the black church, but I love that combination of organ, that B3 Hammond organ, acoustic piano, and just the different grooves and chord changes. It's churchy, but still moves your feet, and it's still got that blues feel to it. So. And then plus the message in that song, "The Rough Side of the Mountain," there's a pretty good message in there, and the whole combination is what brought me to it.
So, out of that message, is it relating to the blues?
Sure. It's things are going bad. You're having a bad time, but you just keep trying. You're climbing. You're struggling though. I mean, you're trying to move forward, but it's that rough side of the mountain. It's not an easy go. And I think all of us can identify one way or another with that. And that's the blues.
I can hear my Savior say
even the rich people have the blues.
That's right. That's right.
Well, okay. The other gospel in your album that I picked up. Let me find. It's Wait.
You mentioned Wait. Yes, that's actually it's got the gospel musically. It's gospel. It has gospel changes and the instrumentation, but it's a love song. It's a heartbreak song, but it definitely has the gospel feel to it. You picked up on that.
Yes, it seems like Aretha Franklin, but then but the lyrics about the love is the struggle, and I guess it was a hurt song. And how wait, maybe taking your time and being patient and for things to change while things are bad, everything is bad around you, kind of thing.
That's right.
So would you define the blues only, well, you mentioned there's a hurt, there's like, you're desperate, it's gonna end, it's forget about it, man. I'm gonna pick up the bottle, or I'm gonna throw myself off the road, and those hard times for individuals. But then you also mentioned about the good times. I mean, the good things. Blues has some good stuff. So which of your songs would you say, out of the 10 of your songs, is reflective of the good side of the blues instead of feeling hurt? I lost my woman, I lost my kid, etc.
So I guess the first song is a instrumental. It's definitely a blues instrumental, and it incorporates a lot of the blues changes and instrumentation that's used in blues, and it's an upbeat instrumental, so there's that. The other one would be Ophelia. It's a song from the band, from Rod Robertson and Lon Helm and those guys, and I really wanted to do it because it's bluesy, but it's upbeat, and it's about a guy, about Ophelia. The woman's name's Ophelia, and he's waiting for her to come back, and he keeps looking, but it's still upbeat, and the way the lyrics, you'll hear that in the lyrics. And one thing I wanted to mention, Mon, is you'll notice there's a lot of different vocalists on the CD, and there's a reason for that, and that's because I don't sing. I can't sing. I can't sing a lick. So what I do is, when I pick material or write my own songs, I try to pick vocalists that I think interpret, the sound that's in my head bouncing around.
Wow.
I'm like all little heads. So
wow.
So that's why I use a lot of different vocalists, and so far, everybody's been real willing to do that, and I appreciate that.
Awesome.
The old neighborhood
So really, the deep feeling, I heard it, and our people of our community and beyond are going to hear you. Actually, I felt like there was really, you were in it. I mean, you weren't singing, but you were playing, expressing yourself through the harmonica. Is that pretty much out of the 10 songs on the CD that I know there's other harmonica songs? Ophelia was one, but how about Deep Feeling? Do you feel like the Deep Feeling was more of your expression of the goodness of
Well, yeah, I think the background on that song, it was actually, believe it or not, it was actually a Chuck Berry song, and it was on the flip side of Ring Ring Goes the Bell. I mean, his classic song. But this one, he used like almost a Hawaiian style guitar on it, but it's just had that weepy sound, and it just really lent itself to harmonica. And my friend Lady Bianca, she says, when she's playing blues or any other kind of music, it doesn't matter the style of the music, or the kind of groove, or the musical changes. In her words, there's always one note. It's just one note that hits you, that just gets you. And without that note, the rest of the song doesn't work. And for me, on Deep Feeling, there's that happened. There's that you picked up on that, Manu. And that song it just made me want to play, and that's how I got there. So
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, let me, all these songs, if I may move forward to what's your insight of the music philosophy, your approach?
Yeah, well, I think I just touched on that, and it was, because I'm not a singer, I mentioned that I chose vocals to sing my songs. And then for me, I really enjoy going into the studio. I choose the material. I choose the musicians. In almost every instance, everybody from the Bay Area, they all know each other, but a lot of times they haven't actually played together or recorded together. So I get them into the studio, and that's a risky thing because of economics and commitments with people in other bands and stuff. You don't have much rehearsal time, and you book the studio and you go in, and it's kind of risky. So we play. You run the songs once or twice, and then hit the record button, and it's a very risky way to do it, but I think you get a live sound. I prefer doing it that way than going in and just layering each instrument over on top of each other. I think you can tell the difference when it's done live, and that's hopefully you can tell the difference on this CD. You can tell everybody's in the same room looking at each other and taking insights from each other and playing with each other, and I think that comes through, and that's kind of my philosophy.
Well, that's a difficult thing that is happening in many ways around the world with this COVID, and how we're not able to group together, and so. But I do know you guys have to get together, and it's like, wouldn't you say this is a challenge? Being blue, you want to group together and see each other, like you say, but then at the same time, you see things that are changing in the music industry, but really it's happening now in different levels.
Yeah.
So how are you going to be able to, we're human beings. We need touch. We need face-to-face. I mean, that's, maybe other people don't, right? Don't need that. But
no, I hear you. I mean, and it's, fortunately, we literally finished up the last session on the mixing on this CD. We finished up the day before the lockdown and staying in place, and so I was fortunate enough during this time to keep myself busy and do the mixing and the mastering and oversee the artwork and that the music kept me busy without playing. But a lot of my peers and friends, the musicians, especially in the Bay Area, especially in San Jose with Kid Anderson and all these guys on Greaseland Studios and Jim Pugh with Little Village Foundation. They've been very resilient and very creative. I mean, you've seen everything from, the new YouTube videos to Facebook concerts, Zoom concerts. There's this countrywide thing called Can't Stop the Blues, and they feature different artists, kind of social distancing, but playing in a venue and from all different parts of the country. And people doing Skype lessons. You can learn how to play harmonica, guitar, bass, piano, drums. I mean, they'll do, and these are like, Class A players, and you can learn from the best now. I mean, they actually have the time to spend with you, even though it's over, a Skype session or something like that. And I just heard of a new, there's this thing called Cameo where you pay a celebrity to do a video or sing a song for like a birthday, anniversary, or anything. And I just saw one with Snoop Dogg did one for a college professor's class on social distancing. So these guys are getting pretty creative out there. But to go to your point, you struck something that made me think here, Amanda. It's like, during these times, I mean, with COVID, all the racial disparity, the politics, and right now we're going through all these fires and smoke, everything going on here on the West Coast, and today on the Gulf Coast, the hurricanes hit, and it's like, man, it's just so much. How do we deal with this? And it's like we're all experiencing, sharing these trials together, but we're alone. We're behind closed doors. I mean, we can talk about it. You can, put a post on Facebook or text somebody, but like you mentioned earlier, we're not in the same room, and it can be, the isolation can get to people, depression, and the financial stress, work stress, and I don't know how these parents are doing it at home, trying to work and then school their kids. I mean, it's just an awful situation. So I think I think that's where the music comes in. John Lee Hooker has a song called "Blues is a Healer," and I think we need a lot of healing right now. And nice. I think that's kind of, I don't mean to sugarcoat things, but things are tough. But I think music does give people at least a little respite from whatever the worry of the moment is. You know what I mean?
Yes. Well, it's music. Maybe it's a healer. One of your guys that I read that was one of your influencer was it was called the Jackson Street Band with Dave Gonzalez.
Oh, yes.
And I had to find out who this person is, right? And lately, he's still playing. He was your influence, right?
Yeah, you're talking about Gary Smith, correct?
No, it was about the. There's a band called the Jackson Street Band with Dave Gonzalez.
Yes, he's here in San Jose, and he still plays. He does he plays around, and his group is called Albatross. They do a lot of Peter Green material and keeping that music alive. So, but that band, they were around, like I say, from the 60s. And my good friend Robert Montez was on drums, and Bob Bones was on B3. They had Hap Scott. He's a great vocalist and bass player. He's passed, but he was on bass, and they were, at that time, they were the bands in the Bay Area.
So the reason the reason I was bringing up Dave Gonzalez is because of what he's doing of the Southwest. Like, we're talking about the stress that we're doing. We're experiencing with the fires, and we're picking it up around us because it's real. Things change, and how do we deal with it? And you brought up music, blues, and John Lee Hooker about blues is a healer. So he knows something that maybe we should talk about the blues in a different way that can help our people. Women with or men raising the kids, or a woman raising kids alone, and their parents are further away. But the reason Dave Gonzalez was really interesting, that I came across his view of resources, and he's over there in Texas, and he's also hangs out with people in Phoenix, and he brought up something dealing with water, And that's on our native wave, not just our native, it's just anybody who really is in touch with our Mother Earth, that philosophy. Without water, we can't live. I mean, just like air. So where I'm going with this, what he came out with is he came out with a song dealing with water because the government, or he called it the water man, is now telling people you can't grow avocados in Arizona. Well, they're very water intensive, but great minerals for the avocado, the heat. You can make a lot of good money, but they need a lot of water. I mean, gallons per every avocado that we get. I think it's 3, 4, 5, 7 gallons, I think, to produce one of those avocados that we eat. So they're putting guidelines of people who were raising avocados, and then all of a sudden say the waterman comes, you can't grow, you have to pay us. And his song is all about, and it's a blues song to boot. It's about making people aware, really, I think, of the resources that we do have. It's okay to build houses, though. But you got control because property taxes, etc., etc. But then now we got the farmers, and he has a song about the waterman charging me $3,000 a month. Now they're saying you can't grow it. There's not enough money for it because who controls the water? Any resources? Right? So maybe that's political. That's a thing of our children that's going to have to go through resources in the America of the great kind of thing. So besides all that, it's the feeling of not being together, and we're kind of, is it made up? Or is it Mother Earth making this thing up about like, hey, you can't see each other because of the COVID, because the conspiracies that you hear, how many people die of COVID, how many people are positive and stuff like that. But do you see...
Well, and I was right there with you. It's like, spiritually, I don't know, from your culture, what the elders would say, but it's like Mother Earth is either, to me, it seems like it's either, trying to repair itself or do a complete reset or something. But I mean, I think we all really do need to actually stop and try to make sense of it, because it's just everything right now. And,
good. Yes, I kind of go with it, and hopefully we'll get some callers calling in and texting about, hey, wait a minute, we'll get that for sure. But do you see, with all our technology, thank God we do have it, we still are able to get connected, but I'm still thinking about the song, the deep feeling. How can... wait a minute, I didn't have to see you at a venue to feel what I heard out of your song, Deep Feeling. So that means music in itself, just poetry. Maybe we got to sit back, and just stay at home. It used to be that, because I'm not going to go visit my uncle who lives 300 miles by horse back then. Yeah.
Right.
So maybe, what do you think about us being, especially in your growing up, you need to see that person eye to eye. How does that influence you in playing that deep feeling? Can you play that being a part from someone else. It's kind of like the transition of the silent movies of Charlie Chaplin, and he could not change over to the audio because he was more of an actor with silence.
Right, I hear you. No, like I say, it's I think just being by yourself. I mean, you can woodshed and learn different techniques and practice your craft. But I think for musicians, at some point, part of it is playing together and making those vibrations, those sounds that reach out to people, and then because people dancing and looking at each other face to face. So I do think at some point, you can do a lot remotely and a lot by yourself, but at some point, I mean, we are meant to be together at some point, right? So
yes.
It's difficult.
When you look at your audience, I mean, people outdoors, indoors, doesn't matter, but the people show up, it does influence. It's kind of like symbiotic, or one pebble hits another pebble, and you never know what's going to happen. Does that influence musicians? I say yes. Or just like people.
Yeah, absolutely, because you want to, you play 4 people, you play 2 people, and there's that back and forth, and there is that energy there, and it'll take you to a higher place.
I believe that. I hear it through your music. So,
well, thank you.
Yeah. So, why don't we end this conversation or this interview? And I thank you.
Well, thank you, Manu. It's been a pleasure.
You're more than welcome. KCXU 92.7 FM in the heart of San Jose, our only local community radio station. I could talk about that another time, but what would you like to tell your people on the radio while they listen? What song do you want to end this interview with? As in,
oh man, good question.
Please, your new album. Your new album. And
okay.
Yeah.
Let's. You can take it out with "I Don't Hurt Anymore." That's Lauren Hollywell. She's a local girl, and she sings the heck out of it. And it's upbeat, and it's like it's coming through the other side, light at the end of the tunnel. It's coming. This is about a relationship, but I think it'll get through on a lot of other levels also.
I don't hurt anymore. All my teardrops are dry. No more walking the floor with that burning inside. Just to think it could be. Forgotten somehow that I cared so before, and it's wonderful now that I don't hurt anymore. forgotten somehow that I cared so before, and it's wonderful now that I don't hurt anymore. Yes, it's wonderful now that I don't hurt anymore.
Okay. And then, what else? And the other thing, while we played that song, how would you like to end the interview to tell the people during these hard times, which is really the blues? I think we're having the blues.
Yeah, well, I think, what I could say is, again, like John Lee said, blues is a healer, and, we recently lost Senator John Lewis, and I admired that guy, and there's something that, again, came out of the Black Church, and I'll paraphrase it, it's something like, when you pray, move your feet. And, it means like, you can say, oh, somebody's going through something, hard times, thoughts and prayers. That's all fine because there's power in prayer. But in this case, it means do something. Do something. Yeah. If it's politics, work the polls. If it's you got a friend in need, make sure you pick up the phone or try to go visit and just do what you can to reach out. But do something. Vote.
Yeah. So. The way our native people say it, talk the talk or walk the walk.
There you go. There you go.
We can talk all day. But how can we let our listeners know of your CD? Are you willing to give some CDs to our station so that way we'll discuss later, so that way we can give some of the CDs out?
Absolutely. That's we can absolutely do that, Mono.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Good blessings, Mr. Neil Barnes. And I have not met you personally yet. Yet. Exactly.
We will, though. Yep.
Okay. All right. So we'll end the show. And the last of the songs, what other one would you like the people to hear?
Oh, boy. Let me see. Well, a very personal one is Placerville Gold. That has to do with just family, and my wife had a coffee shop in Sierra Nevada foothills in Placerville. But at the end of it, I go back to this place where, when we were younger, in the Sierra foothills, there's a town called Pioneer. And my mother-in-law had this hill where she'd plant sweet peas, and this was a place in the woods, and it would be all the relatives would show up with their campers, and all the aunts and uncles, nieces and nephews, and it was just a great family time. And
wow.
Trying to find that feeling again is difficult. So.
Oh wow! What a great memory.
It's bonanza or bust, little Jill Ellen. Your love's like Placerville gold, so hard to find, so hard to hold. Love's like Placerville gold, so hard to find, so hard to hold. Honey, you know I could strike it rich Now chase it down, pickaxe in hand, like an 1849er, babe. Go after it with pickaxe in hand. But I'm an impatient man, not gonna kneel by the creek and pan. That's like Placerville gold, so hard to find, so hard to hold. Love's like Placerville gold, so hard to find, so hard to hold. Well, I just might strike it rich, I could hit the mother low. Love can't trick your mind like fool's gold sand. Love can trick your mind just like a fool's golden sand. But I've been searching high and low, Sierra foothills to the Rio Grande. I'll take you back to Sweet Pea Hill, leave old Hangtown and head to Sweet Pea Hill. Struck my claim, we can do what we will. Head out of Hangtown, Ponderosa, Sweet Pea Hill, Placerville Gold.
Welcome to KCXU 92.7 FM on your dial, San Jose, California.